If you need some coins to add some ballers to your team, make sure you go ahead and check out mudreserve.com. Fast service, great rates, no need to rely on pack luck. Get yourself some coins, buy the players you want, use code SPREE at checkout for 15% off.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having another fantastic day today. You can call me Spree and welcome back to another video. Now, I know a lot of people are really hyped about Most Fed coming out this weekend. We're going to get a bunch of new players, a bunch of really good players as well. But most of those cards are probably going to be really expensive. So today, instead of worrying about the cards that we won't be able to afford when they come out this weekend, I want to talk about a bunch of cards that I think everyone should have on their team, especially if they're running on a budget, especially if they're running a no money spent team. Now, I'm going to be honest up front, we're not talking budget 20 to 30,000 coins. I'm thinking in the range of 80 to 100, just over 100,000 coins. I think that's good value. Right now, you can get a bunch of cards that can really compete with the top tier cards going for 400k, 500k. You can definitely get good cards that are very comparable for around that 100k range. That's what we want to talk about today. Almost everyone we're going to talk about today I have on my team, or I've used them previously. I think all of these guys are a bunch of ballers. Definitely stick with me. We do have a bunch of goons that I think everyone should have on their team. If you are new to the channel and you enjoy the content, definitely consider popping down, hitting that subscribe button down below. If you do like the video, go ahead, hit that little thumbs up button down below as well. But let's get into it. Let's go talk about some budget beasts that you should be adding to your squad. Jumping straight into the lineup, this is the no money spent team that I'm working with at the moment. As you can see, we do have a bunch of goons out there. We have some guys that are going to be a lot more expensive, aren't going to fit into that budget kind of tier that we want to talk about today. But if we jump on over to the defense as well, I have plenty of guys right here on the field that are going to fit into this category, guys that I think are going to be really good additions for anyone's team. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to talk about every single position group. I'm not going to talk about the defensive line or offensive line. I think at those particular position groups, abilities matter. Players are going to play only as well as whatever abilities you have tacked onto them. We're not going to cover fullbacks. And in terms of linebackers, I don't really like linebackers. If a ball gets thrown at them, they're just going to watch it go over their head. So they're not the best position at the moment. Unfortunately, they don't have as much value as they have in previous years, but that's okay. We can talk about all these other position groups. We're going to have plenty of goons that you can add to your team. All right, to get us started, we're going to look at the quarterback position. And first up, the guy that I think everyone should be looking to have on their team, especially if they're running on a budget and they're trying to get the best value, is going to be the superstar MVP Lamar Jackson. Right now, this card's sitting around 90k, pretty darn good value. I do really like the fact that they already have abilities built in. So you're going to get Dashing Deader, you're going to get Escape Artist. You don't have to spend training to be able to pick that up. When you have a look at this card, really good speed, solid passing stats. He's going to be able to make a lot of the throws. I've used this card a lot throughout the year. I've only moved away from him last week because Josh Allen with Gunslinger is just an absolute demon. But in saying that, I still use this guy a lot. He comes in for QB draws. He still comes in and I use him to kind of catch my opponent off guard using his speed. So I think this guy is a baller. 90,000 coins for still one of the best quarterbacks in the game. I know there's guys like Kyler Murray. I know there's guys like Michael Vick. But because you save so much not having to spend the training to go ahead and get these abilities, I think this card is still really good value. Next up, we're going to talk tight end, and we got to go with my man Jermichael Finley. I've had this guy for a long time as well, and this guy still absolutely makes plays for me. Now, at the moment, this card's going for just over 100k. Keep in mind, though, with all these prices we talk about today, Most Fed might make the market drop, which means you might be able to get these a little bit cheaper, so keep an eye out for that. Checking out his stats, he's only got 83 speed, but that 90 medium route running is what makes him absolutely crazy. Even though he's going to be going against some really high speed guys, 90 speed, 92, 94 speed corners, this guy is still going to be able to cook on certain routes. If you've got plays in your playbook that allow him to run tight end crosses, this guy is going to be able to cook man coverage. If you're willing to spend a little bit more coins, it'll cost you around 30, 40,000 coins to pick up the power up and to be able to get enough training to fully power him up to 90 overall. Then you can put tight end apprentice, and then you can put crosses at will with this man. But this guy is going to be able to cook absolutely everyone when they're in man coverage, especially with those tight end crosses. With that route running as well, he's going to be able to be good on posts, on corners. You're going to be able to use him as a really good weapon to beat the man coverage meta that is going on at the moment. I definitely think this guy's a must-have. If there was anyone that we're going to talk about today that I think you could spend a little bit more and make him even better, go ahead, pick up the power up, fully power him up, put on tight end apprentice, and just watch him go to work. Moving on over to the wide receiver position, and we have a card that literally only just dropped yesterday, and that is Justin Jefferson. He's going for around 90k at the moment. These team of the week cards, though, they always drop off over the next few days, so I could see this getting down to 80,000-70,000 coins over the next few days. When we go ahead and have a look at his stats, though, jumping on in right here, 90 speed, really good stock speed for a wide receiver, really good catching stats, and pretty solid route running across the board. What I really like about this card is his archetype, right? He's a slot receiver, which means some of the better abilities for wide receivers are going to be less AP for him. So Slot-O-Matic is only going to be 2 AP for him. You're going to be able to get Slot Apprentice as well. I think that's probably only going to cost the 1 AP. Overall, this guy is going to be a really good value card that you can get. When you put abilities on him, this guy is just going to turn into an absolute demon. Now, I will say you definitely need abilities on this guy, especially going with Slot-O-Matic or Route Technician. This guy doesn't hit any of the thresholds for route running, so you're going to make sure that he has ability so he can beat man coverage. You know, everyone's running man coverage at the moment. All right, quick little post-production addition by me here. Originally, I wasn't going to add this man, DK Metcalf. I thought he was a little bit expensive, but for 130k at the moment, I've seen his price down in the range of around 120k. You can get probably the most dominant wide receiver in the game. This guy is super fast. This guy just makes a lot of plays. If we go ahead and check out his stats, if you put the go deep chemistry onto him, you're going to be able to get his deep route running up to a 90. That's going to allow him to get those quick cuts for those deep routes. He has 92 speed. He is 6'3". This guy is an absolute monster, a very good player, very comparable to someone like Tyron Calico. I think this is definitely a solid addition to your team. All right, to round out the offense, we are going to look at a couple running backs. Both of them are actually going to be power-ups, and the first is going to be this man, Bo Jackson. He's only going to cost around 10k at the moment, but as everyone knows, each year in Madden, this guy's an absolute baller. If you power him up, it's going to cost you around 2,500 training. You can get him up to his 88 overall, and that guy is going to have 90 speed stock. This guy is going to be able to make plays for you. With the way training is at the moment, it's going to cost you maybe around 65,000 coins to be able to pick up the training that you need to boost up this man, Bo Jackson. All up, around 70,000 coins for a good 90 speed running back. You can obviously try to save up and make the next upgrade so you have one of the fastest running backs in the game. You definitely have some options there. I definitely think this guy is a good budget option. The other running back I highly suggest is going to be this man, Reggie Bush. Now, his power right now is going for less than 40k. I definitely think that's pretty solid value. It's going to cost you somewhere in the region of 3,600 training to be able to boost him all the way up to an 89 overall. Boosting him all the way up, he's going to get to 90 speed, just like Bo Jackson. He's going to be nice and fast, definitely what you want on the field. The other ability you're going to want to add to him to make sure he has the ability to beat man coverage is going to be the running back apprentice. You want to be able to put out those flats, put out those Texas routes, making sure you have routes out there to be able to beat man coverage. This guy is going to be fast. He's going to be a good receiving back for you. Definitely a really good option. All up, with the cost of training at the moment, it's going to cost you around 120k to be able to boost him up all the way to the 89 overall. I definitely think that's very good value for probably the best budget running back in the game. Hopping over to the defensive side of the ball, there's only a few guys on this side of the ball that I think are really solid options for you in terms of budget guys that you should be adding to your team. And the first is definitely going to be this man, Deion James, going for around 90,000 coins right now. I've definitely seen this card drop down to around 80,000 coins, so you can definitely get him a little bit cheaper as well. But if we go ahead and have a look at his stats, really solid speed, 89 speed, going to be able to make plays for you. Good Excel, solid man coverage. If you put him in as a linebacker, he's going to be able to play man quite well for you. Zone coverage, if you're running lockdown, you can easily hit that 90 zone coverage, making sure he hits that threshold so he can break on the ball a little bit faster. He's got good hit power. He's tall. This guy is just an absolute baller. He could be used as a good user. Otherwise, you can just let him roam, let him do work. I've used this guy a lot. He is running linebacker for me. He makes a lot of plays, a lot of picks. He breaks on the ball really well. I definitely really like this card. The next guy I want to look at is going to be this man, Sean Murphy Bunting, going for around 80,000 coins at the moment. And this guy's a little bit interesting because I actually really like him as a safety, especially if you user your safety. 92 speed, 6 foot. This guy is going to be a really good budget option if you want a high speed guy to user. So if you're running at safety, you can sub him in at safety obviously and be able to roam all over the field. This is really all about speed. As a user, he's going to be able to fly around down the field. If you're playing him at corner, if you boost him up with lockdown, he is going to be able to hit 90-man coverage. It's going to be a little bit stickier with that threshold, but overall, I think this card is really, really good. I played against him a bunch. I've definitely been picked off by him a bunch. I think this is a really solid budget option for a cornerback at the moment. If you're looking for a truly lockdown guy for around 120,000 coins at the moment, L'Jarius Sneed is definitely going to be your guy. This guy super fast. I think he's 92 speed. Look at that, 92 speed. 86 man, 86 zone. If you have lockdown boosted up, you're probably going to be able to hit thresholds for both of those. This guy has been absolutely making plays for me. I really, really like this card. He's 6'1" as well, so he has good height. He's not going to get aggressive caught as often, so I do like this card. I think this card is probably a must-have out of all of these defensive guys. This is probably the cornerback that you want to be able to add to your team. He's going to be able to lock down a lot of guys. He's going to be good in the man meta. He's going to be able to play solid zone coverage. Definitely a good option to add to your team. Last but definitely not least, I want to talk about users. Now, we did look at Sean Bunting Murphy. I think he'd be a really, really good user, but I understand if you want to put him at cornerback, or maybe you even want to play him at safety and just let him roam. With that speed, he's going to be able to make plays for you. At user, we don't need coverage, we just want speed, we want good height, and I think a really good budget option still is going to be this Terrell Edmunds. Going for around 24,000 coins, looking at his stats, 89 speed. That's pretty much all that matters. 90 hit power, you're going to be able to break up some plays because of that. 6'1". This guy is just going to be a really solid user, still a very, very solid budget option. And finally, when we're talking about users, we can't forget to mention this guy, Isaiah Simmons. I used him a bunch. We've moved away from him, but I definitely could still see this guy being the best user in the game. 116,000 coins right there. You can definitely get him in that 110 to 120 range at the moment. But when you look at his stats, 90 speed, good hit power, 6'4". This guy is going to pick off everything. If you put acrobat on him, he's going to get those crazy animations as well. I think this guy is a very, very good user. Definitely someone you should be looking to try to pick up. You're going to be able to up your game having a demon like this as your user. You're going to be able to cover a lot of things that usually you wouldn't with other players. This guy's straight up just a baller. And that's really going to be about it for today, folks. A lot of those players I have used a bunch. A lot of those abilities we talked about, I've used a bunch, and they really, really help my offense. They definitely help me pick up a bunch of wins. Every single one of these guys I talked about is a baller. I think all of them are good value options. You're going to get comparable results to the guys that are costing 300,000-400,000 coins at the moment. I definitely think these are really good options for you to go ahead and add to your team. Now, moving forward, I want to keep doing videos like this, maybe every month or so, revisiting the best budget players to go for at the moment. Still sitting in that 80 to 120k range. I think that's pretty good value. But with prices always changing and new players coming out, we always want to keep an eye out for good budget options to be able to add to our teams. Before we finish up today, definitely go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for coming through, everyone. I do appreciate it. Take it easy. You can call me Spree, and we out.